Hello everyone, my name is Kozhikode and I'm a trainee pilot in India right now. I'm not here to blame anyone, but there are a few things which are very important to know about the Air India crash happened at Kozhikode. In a disastrous turn of events, an Air India Express Boeing 737 coming from Dubai to Kozhikode with 191 people on board overshot the runway in rainy conditions and went down 35 feet into a slope before breaking up into pieces. Said in a tweet by Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation Hardeep Singh Puri. The sorrow of the Calicut International Airport seemed to be continuing even after the completion of runway and safety area expansion work. But this raised many eyebrows. Few popular figures like Jason Rabinowitz, who worked for Flight Radar 24, took his concerns to Twitter, saying the runway at Calicut was reduced to 2,700 meters from 2,850 meters to increase the runway and safety area from 90 meters to 240 meters. So they didn't actually increase the safety area, they just shortened the runway. But it was back in 2018 that DGCA wanted the airport authority to fix the runway and safety area issue of the tabletop runway. So Airport Authority of India, after the partial closure of the runway for 6 months, RESA was widened to 240 meters from 90 meters at both ends of runway, reducing the length of the runway from 2,850 meters to 2,700 meters. But this does not mean that the airline companies are unable to operate the modern versions of Boeing and Airbus, including the wide-body aircrafts. For those who don't know what is RESA, runway and safety area, RESA is primarily intended to reduce the risk of damage to an airplane undershooting or overrunning the runway during a landing or a rejected takeoff, as this area creates more friction, therefore slowing down the aircraft much more effectively than the runway. Also, many pilots on social media showed their concern of how challenging the runway of Calicut International Airport is, as it does not have a runway centerline lighting system, which makes it difficult to land during rain and low visibility. The deadly plane accident could have been led to even more fatalities if there was no quick and effective rescue operation undertaken by the local residents. While congratulating the locals for their timely intervention, Chief Minister of Kerala Pinarayi Vijayan said the fast response of local people made all the difference. They braved bad weather and COVID-19 fears to rescue their fellow beings. A day and a half later, almost all of those volunteers are in quarantine, while many are isolating at home. Others like Shabbir and Irshad, who do not have sufficient space at home, have been quarantined in school. A special quarantine facility arranged for these volunteers. As per the bulletin released by Air India Express, on 10th August, 56 passengers were discharged from various hospitals after being declared as completely fit. The Boeing 737 flight from Dubai was repatriating Indian citizens stranded by the coronavirus pandemic under Mission Vande Bharat. It was a disastrous outcome for the passengers who had waited months to fly home and reunite with their families. Why the Calicut crash brings back memories of Mangaluru. Mangaluru also has a tabletop runway. Back in 2010, a Boeing 737 belonging to Air India Express had crashed in Mangaluru and killed 158 people on board, falling into a gorge like Calicut. Before that, let's have a look into the accident history of Calicut Airport. This was the 5th crash in the history of Calicut Airport, and the previous 4 were fly and to be a pilot is a privilege. Very few people get to enjoy this privilege and dignity. The reason for the crash can be anything, just anything. But what angers me is they blame the pilots even before the investigation has started. Blaming the pilots is always an easy way out for the management and the authorities, as they are not even alive to defend themselves. And even the people from pilot fraternity are going and giving interviews, directly or indirectly blaming the pilots. Maybe just for some publicity. Let me also tell you there are hundreds of possible things that can go wrong during a landing. Minor aircraft runway overruns and undershoots are relatively a frequent occurrence. Most data sources point to significant occurrences on an average once a month worldwide and say that runway excursions overall are the fourth largest cause of airline fatalities. I showed you the accident history not to bring you into any conclusions, but to show you the possibilities. A flying machine is a complicated thing. While keeping this aside, no eyes were left dry. As First Officer Akhilesh Kumar's mortal remains arrived at Delhi airport on 9th August, several pilots from the pilot community joined to pay their last respects to Captain Akhilesh Kumar. And the final tribute was paid by the Indian Air Force to Captain Deepak, who was a former Indian Air Force pilot. It is unfortunate that 18 people, including the two pilots, have lost their lives in this crash. We are deeply saddened by this tragedy. Let's keep the departed in our prayers and wish a speedy recovery for those who are injured. आई होप आप सबको ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो. इफ़ येस प्लीज़ हिट द लाइक बटन, सब्सक्राइब करो चैनल को एंड शेयर द वीडियो सो दैट वी ऑल कैन क्रिएट अ बेटर वर्ल्ड ऑफ एविएशन.